Which animals should you absolutely start with as a beginner farmer? Hi, my name is Haley and I'm here to teach you about farming. When it comes to raising livestock, some animals are just going to be so much easier than others. Whether it's less strenuous care needs, less expensive care needs, or overall just less management, there are some animals that are going to make your life so much easier if you start out with them. Number one on this list, without question, is going to be chickens. Chickens are the ultimate beginner farm animal. Not only are they incredibly cheap to start out with, they're easy to raise and don't take up a lot of time in the day to care for. Not only that, but if you accidentally make a mistake and lose some of your animals, they are so much cheaper and easier to replace than larger livestock. Due to their cost efficiency, their low barrier to entry, suitability for smaller properties and setups, chickens are the perfect animal to start out with if you want to get into farming. And unlike a lot of other livestock, the only thing that you have to actually do to collect the final product is go into the coop and grab it from the nesting box. The only things they need to really thrive are a secure shelter, appropriate food, water, and a place to lay their eggs. Next up on the list, and you're gonna have to trust me on this one, rabbits. But what are we farming the rabbits for? I'm glad you asked. Rabbits are the perfect meat stock if your goal is to both be sustainable and produce your own healthy food. And yes, I do mean butcher them. Rabbits are incredibly cheap and easy to care for, and they are the perfect animal for beginners who want to dip their toes into processing. Their setups are relatively cheap, they can be fed relatively cheaply, and they don't require a whole lot of resources and inputs that larger livestock require. And when it comes to processing, they are so much easier than most of the other meat stock. And finally, and I say this one with a caveat, goats. Hear me out. Hear me out. I don't mean dairy goats, I don't mean meat goats. What I mean is get you some brush eater wethers, right? Some castrated males. You want the ones that are going to be living off brush and thriving while doing it. Because there are some lines of goats that are bred to be very fragile, but I believe that if you wanted to get into the medium-sized livestock, I think that those brush eater goats that thrive off of neglect, you know the ones I'm talking about, those are going to be your best friend. Because, let's be real, they are hard to keep in, they are more difficult. If you can get that under control and you start with the right setup, they are pretty much like big dogs. When it comes to overall nutrition, maintenance, and just general care, they are definitely one of the easier animals to care for. The fencing is honestly the hardest part to owning goats, so if you can get that down, their care needs really aren't that complex. Later on, if you wanted to move on to those fancy goats, the dairy goats, the meat goats, whatever you want, you can do so. I just wouldn't start with them. Those are my animal recommendations for beginners. I think it kind of covers a little bit of everything. You've got the eggs, the meat, and that little bit of intro to dealing with larger stock. Now, do you have to use these 3 species to start out with? Of course not. This is just my recommendation. These are the species that I think are going to be the most helpful in your overall journey.